Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we've got a news update video. I haven't done a couple of these in the last little while, so we're touching on 11 signings that happened from over the past little while. And we've got two trades to discuss, one involving Vancouver, Toronto, the other Colorado and San Jose. We'll touch on both these trades and all the signings coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this to all of you guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming out in the very near future. So in today's video, we're just doing a quick news and update video here. I haven't done one of these in a little while because I haven't been posting as much recently, so I'm just touching on the 11 signings that happened over the 17th and 18th that I never touched on. Plus, we're also looking at two trades that happened, one more recently, but one I also forgot to touch on about a week and a half ago, so I'll touch on all of these things here. So we're going to start off with the 11 signings to touch on here today. So the first one was between the Florida Panthers and one of their RFAs in Tobias Bjornfoot. The waiver claim from a couple of years back has been basically a depth defenseman for the Florida Panthers over the past little while, but he's still on the younger side. He's only 24 years old. He still has the potential to grow into a solid third-pair defenseman. That's a one-year league minimum deal from Florida. It's not a bad deal there. Like, Bjornfoot's probably going to play at the AHL level. Could be a call-up option. Maybe if he does some good things, he could work out a third-pair role, but I think he's mostly going to be an AHL call-up option type guy, so one-year league minimum. Not a bad deal there for the Florida Panthers. The next signing that we have here to talk about is in the Calgary Flames organization, another RFA, Rory Kearns, who's a 23-year-old center prospect, more of an AHL level guy, gets a one-year league minimum deal as well. He's mostly an AHL level guy, like maybe he gets a call-up option or two during the season depending on how well he does, but he's mostly an AHL level guy, so very interesting note there. The Flames also signed a couple of other lower-end AHL level guys to new deals who are RFAs, as well as Jeremy Poirier and Vilardi and Kuznetsov. Both are also 23 years old. Both are defensive prospects. Poirier gets a one-year league minimum deal. Kuznetsov 2 years at $813,000. Poirier is probably one of the top defensive prospects in the Flames system, but he's still more of an AHL level guy at this point in time, so one-year league minimum is not too bad. And if he does well, it could see him get some call-up option time, potentially even playing on the third pair. Kuznetsov over the past couple of years has been a call-up option, and he's actually worked out quite well in a call-up option role. I could see him if he has a good training camp challenge, like a spare role, maybe like a 6'7" defenseman. I wouldn't be surprised if he started in the AHL and was also a call-up option too, but he gets a 2-year deal, so obviously the Flames have a little bit more confidence in Kuznetsov at this point than they do in Poirier, so very interesting note there. But the Flames have signed 3 RFAs in Kearns, Kuznetsov, and Poirier, 2 new deals. Then we saw Chicago Blackhawks sign one of their pending RFAs, one of the guys who was potentially offer sheet eligible, but I didn't think was going to get offer sheeted, and that's Louis Crevier, 24-year-old defenseman who actually had a pretty good season this past year. His first full stint at the NHL level looked really good for the Chicago Blackhawks. Gets a 2-year extension, AAV of $900,000. Not a bad deal there for Crevier. Like, he'll probably be a third-pair defenseman this year and moving forward for the Blackhawks, and he's a really solid defensive player too. So 2 years under $1 million for a younger defensive player, not a bad deal there for the Blackhawks. The Florida Panthers and one of their AHL level prospects, and that's 26-year-old center prospect William Skoog. Skoog gets a 1-year league minimum deal. He was a college prospect a couple of years back who signed as an unrestricted free agent with the Florida Panthers. More of an AHL level guy, could potentially be a call-up option, but Alex looking to be more of an AHL level guy, so very interesting signing there. Then we saw the Anaheim Ducks sign their 2 arbitration cases before they hit arbitration, which was big news there for the Anaheim Ducks. First, it was Dostal. They signed the 25-year-old goaltender to a 5-year contract extension, AAV of $6.5 million. Then it was Drew Helleson, the 24-year-old defenseman, gets a 2-year extension, AAV of $1.1 million. So Helleson has been more of an AHL level guy. He was acquired in the Josh Manson deal a few years back, but this past year actually got into some NHL action, putting up 4 goals and 13 points in 56 NHL games. He was a really solid player there for the Anaheim Ducks in this games at the NHL level, and looks like going forward he could be a really solid third, second pair defenseman. So 2 years at $1.1 million is not half bad for the Anaheim Ducks. And same thing for Dostal. Dostal had an up and down season last year, but the Ducks were an up and down sort of team. He had a 54 games of NHL action, putting up a 3.10 GAA and a 903 save percentage, but he looks like a stellar goalie of the future. So a longer term deal, $6.5 million AAV, which is basically the same they were paying John Gibson. Not a bad deal there for the Ducks, and I think going forward, Gibson is definitely going to be the team's starter. So a very solid pickup here for the Ducks as they do wind up signing Dostal as well as Helleson. Then we saw the Ottawa Senators sign one of their younger forward prospects, and that's Xavier Bourgault. Bourgault, who was acquired in a trade with the Edmonton Oilers last offseason, since a one-year league minimum deal. Bourgault looks like a very fantastic prospect. I think eventually Bourgault could be a really solid prospect there for the Ottawa Senators, maybe like a bomb six type player. He was a former first round pick, but this time is more of an AHL level guy, so 1 year minimum for a younger prospect, not a bad deal there for the Senators. And then we saw the Winnipeg Jets sign two players. One was Parker Ford, the RFA, who's 24 years old, center prospect, AHL level guy again. 2 year deal into $13,000 AAV, so same sort of deal that Vilardi Kuznetsov got. Ford got a little bit of NHL action this year, putting up some decent numbers. He could be a call-up option, I think, this upcoming season, but wouldn't be surprised if he was more of an AHL level guy. So a solid sign there for the Jets. And they also signed one of their ARB cases, and that's Gabe Vilardi. Vilardi, who was signed to arbitration, gets a long-term deal. The 25-year-old center gets a 6-year extension, AAV of $7.5 million. Vilardi was a solid prospect that was acquired in the Pierre-Luc Dubois deal and has worked on Winnipeg ever since. Solid top six guy, works really well with Shafley and Connor. So again, signed for 6 years at $7.5 million. It's not a bad deal there for the Jets, and I do think going forward, Vilardi will be a solid pickup here for the Winnipeg Jets. So very interesting out there. But those are all the signs we saw from our past couple of days. We saw some lower end, more AHL level guys get signed, guys like Ford and Bourgault and Kuznetsov. And we also saw some ARB cases get done with guys like Dostal, Helleson, and Vilardi. So very interesting out there. But those are all those 11 signings that we're going to talk about here. And lastly, here going over to two trade updates. So we have two trades to talk about here. First was the one that happened quite a while ago, back on July 17th. It was between the Vancouver Canucks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was a swap of just one thing on each side, and it was a very interesting one. The Toronto Maple Leafs gave up a 4th round pick in the 2028 draft to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for acquiring Dakota Joshua. It was a very smart move there from Toronto, a little more of a baffling move there on the Canucks side. For Vancouver, they need to free up cap space. A lot of people, Canucks media especially, were saying that Bluger or Joshua were the two main targets that the Canucks were trying to move to free up cap space. So Joshua making over $3 million for the next 3 seasons as a prime trade target. He was a good locker room presence though, had good chemistry with Connor Garland, who they just extended. So it's a very confusing move there from the Canucks, and they needed to free up cap space. But it was a really good fit there in the Vancouver Canucks organization. They get a 4th round pick back in return. That as well is baffling. Like at this point in time, with all the playoff caliber players that a lot of teams really want to get their hands on, you'd expect Joshua to get like a 2nd or 3rd round pick, or maybe a higher level prospect. Like a 4th round pick seems like very low value in return for Dakota Joshua. So like, in my opinion, from the Canucks side of things, it's a very baffling move. From the Leafs side, you do this deal all day. You move a 4th round pick, which might turn into something, might not, who knows, and you get Dakota Joshua. He's signed for 3 more seasons. He's at a $3.25 million cap hit. He's still under 30 years old. Joshua, over the past couple seasons, has really come into his own in the Canucks organization. 2 years ago, had a career high 18 goals and 32 points in 63 games with Vancouver, which was a career high for him. And on top of that, was a beast in the playoffs when the Canucks made it. Last year, had some health problems, had some injuries to deal with. Wound up only finishing the season with 7 goals and 14 points in 57 games with the Canucks, which was his lowest games played total, as well as his lowest goal total and point total with the Vancouver Canucks. But he was in the first year of a 3-year, $3.25 million deal. So like, if he can get back up to the point totals he was putting up with the Vancouver Canucks 2 years ago, if he can be like a 20 goal scorer, like 35 to 40 point player for the Maple Leafs, like hands down that's a win. And then you get his physical toughness, which will be a very valuable asset in the postseason. So is he going to be the Maple Leafs version of Sam Bennett, like some of the Leafs fans are saying? I don't think so, but does it make that Maple Leafs team a lot harder to play against? Yeah, it does. So a very interesting trade here between the Leafs and the Canucks as Dakota Joshua gets dealt to the Leafs for a 4th round pick. And then we had an AHL player swap that happened just a couple of days ago, and the trade was between the Sharks and the Avalanche. The trade was as follows. Really easy pick swap. Daniil Guschin was dealt to the Colorado Avalanche by the San Jose Sharks for Oscar Olausson. So a very interesting swap there. Guschin got a couple of games of NHL action last year, but he's mostly an AHL level guy. He's 23 years old. He's a left winger, a little bit older and more established than Olausson, but I do think that he has a little bit of a lower ceiling. So like, is Guschin a guy who can potentially challenge in training camp for like a spare role, maybe a 4th line role, sort of help the Avalanche round out that bottom 6? I definitely think so. I think Guschin has that sort of capabilities, but does he have the same ceiling as Olausson? No. So I think it's a sort of win-win deal for the Avalanche. For the Sharks side, Guschin wasn't agreeing to any sort of contracts that they were offering him, and they really want to just give him a fresh start. They get Olausson back. He's a little bit younger, 22 years old, center prospect. Had a first few pro seasons over the past couple of seasons. Hasn't really established himself as a solid player. He was a former 1st round pick, so he does have pretty high expectations, but at this point in time hasn't really been more than an AHL player. So maybe in San Jose he can get better minutes, he can get some more playing time in the AHL level, and maybe could turn into like a solid middle 6 forward there for the Sharks on the road. So very interesting trade there. That's a trade I don't really think there's a winner or a loser to at this point, because both are more AHL level guys on the younger side of their careers, but I do think if one or both of these guys are going to turn into some solid studs, then we'll probably see a winner. So very interesting out there. But that's all I'm going to talk for today. I left you guys thoughts. What was your opinion on the Joshua for a 4th round pick deal? What was your opinion on the Guschin for Olausson swap? And what was your opinion on all the signings? Dostal, Kuznetsov, Helleson, Vilardi, Borgo, like all those guys. Definitely your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk for today. Remember to like this video, and if you'd like to subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming out in the very near future. I also have a blog, talk about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I've linked to that in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.